Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys questions about the Red Scare, or McCarthyism.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Sounds like
basically, happened during the Cold War, so do either of you know what the Cold War is?
No.
Is the Cold War was like in like Antarctica or something?
Yeah, is that that?
You know World War One and World War Two?
Yeah.
That counts
Never
as a
heard of
hot
it.
war because it involved actual battles and fighting.
So like the Cold War was like political kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly, that's it.
I actually know stuff. Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
The Cold War was about America and Russia kind of arguing over their ideologies. Because Russia was communist and America is democratic.
Speak English, please.
So, do either of you know what communism is?
No.
Well, like you've kind of explained it to me in the past, but I
Like
have
literally
really bad
like a month
memory.
ago.
The past for me means like years ago. Thank you very much. So I have no idea.
Okay, so communism is when everyone works together to provide each other with the equal amount of goods and services and stuff like that.
Cool bananas.
Yeah, but democracy is all about people voting for their government and them kind of deciding what the government will then do for them.
So it's like Donald Trump.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure that's
Let's not
not.
get into him right now. America kind of responded to communism with the Executive Presidential Order 9835.
This is boring.
I know you're bored, Lockie, I know. So it was also known as the Loyalty Order, and so it required an investigation of all federal employees to see if they're communist sympathizers. And so the government investigated over 3 million employees, and just over 300 were dismissed as a security risk.
You did. I'm not listening.
I know you're not listening, Lockie.
Well, I'm trying to be distracting you, Rocky, with your hand symbols and stuff like that.
But this was kind of like a prelude to something much bigger. So I'm going to show you guys a photo of Joseph
Pokemon
McCarthy.
Go.
Joseph McCarthy. So this is Joseph McCarthy, right?
He has a tie. That's nice. Very formal.
So basically, he was a senator, and he went to the Ohio County Women's Republican Club in Wheeling, and he made a speech. And he waved a piece of paper around in the air, and he was like, on this list, I have 205 names of people in the government who are communist, and we're going to find them. I'm going to get rid of them. If he had this list in our time now, who do you think would be on the list?
So would it be something like Tony Abbott?
Okay, so Indy thinks Tony Abbott is going to be on the list. Lockie, who do you think is on the list?
Your mama.
Malcolm Turnbull.
Malcolm Turnbull. Okay, so we got Tony Abbott and Malcolm Turnbull. Who,
Joy
I
God.
feel like I'm 110% right.
in reality, there was no one on the list. The list was blank. He made it all up.
Well,
He
that's not very
created
nice.
fear over nothing. And he spent about 5 years trying to expose the communists in the
Expose
government.
Expose him!
But his accusations were so intimidating that not many people would actually speak out against him, and many of McCarthy's colleagues disapproved of his political tactics, and even President Eisenhower said, I will not get into the gutter with this guy. They were not happy with him. But he was in charge of the Committee on Government Operations, and so allowed him to launch more investigations on the so-called communist infiltration. So he interrogated witnesses so aggressively there seemed to be a blatant violation of civil rights. And despite the lack of solid proof in most of his cases, 2,000 government employees lost their jobs because of investigations. It was pretty bad. This is going to sound kind of random, but what do you think a pinky is?
A pink.
Pinky.
My smallest finger.
The colour pink.
Okay.
What's a pinky?
Another question. What do you think a fellow traveller is?
A fellow traveller.
He
Someone,
travels fellow.
a nice mate that you meet on the road when travelling to different places.
So, you're both right in your own context, but in the context of this, it was a slang term for a communist sympathizer. So someone who's American, but they feel bad for the communists and they don't think they're bad people. And so this is all because of McCarthy, because he caused this mass hysteria around communism.
Ella's last name, yeah. Illuminati confirmed! Ella's behind everything! Okay, sorry, continue.
But like, it got so bad that there was even this guy called William Remington, and he was sent to prison because he was supposedly a communist. But his inmate, who was in the cell with him, killed him because he thought that if he killed a communist, that would be a good reason for them to let him free.
Well, that's still murder, though, like...
Yes, but he thought that because he was murdering a communist that it was okay.
But, that's dumb, though, that doesn't
So
make
is he
Exactly.
Is he a fellow traveller?
It's like saying this person goes for, like, NBA, like, Warriors and stuff like that, and then this one goes for the Bulls, and then, you know, you're allowed to kill the Bulls because they didn't go for the Warriors.
Yeah, and at the time, the media was predominantly consisted of film, radio, print, and TV, but the government wanted to use that to kind of further their anti-communist agenda. And so they turned everything to propaganda, really. And there was even a film called The Red Nightmare that was, like, played in schools as part of the curriculum to teach kids about how bad communism was. And they had posters around that said things like "better dead than red," because like red was like used as like a term for communists.
Well, at least it rhymes.
At least it rhymes. That's the good thing. But yeah, so like the media was just overflowing with communist stuff. But like there was a crucial act of the media when they published the Pentagon Papers, and so newspapers published.
Wait, do you mean the shape?
Yes,
No,
the
yeah.
Pentagon is a shape.
no, Maddie, the shape's like the paper is cut into the size of the Pentagon.
They published papers from the Pentagon that was like classified information, and it revealed that the government actually lied about how many people died in the Vietnam War, which was against communism.
How many?
I can't remember. But the point
number of
was,
people,
the
maybe,
point
at
was
least
that at least two. America was lying to them and saying, "Oh yeah, we're doing really well in the Vietnam War. We're defeating communism. It's so great." When in reality, they were actually doing pretty bad, and things weren't great over there. And it was actually very cruel what was happening, and so that made people kind of distrust the government and focus more on the media, and they trusted them more. But they also shouldn't have trusted the FBI. So
What's that again?
I was just going to ask you, what do you think the FBI is?
It's like the people like from the TV shows, like the
Men in
gun, they're
Black.
like pow pow pow, just gonna take out some terrorists. Pow,
Men in
pow.
Black.
Okay, so you think they're talking about terrorists?
Well, I know,
Like
they're
instead of Men in Black.
like secret agents for like America.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. And so the FBI weren't very good during the McCarthyism era
Did they wear
because
suits?
I guess they probably did.
I'm still gonna go with my theory of LL being behind everything.
Fair enough. So the FBI went very good. They used some illegal tactics to find information on communists that included burglaries and opening people's private mail. It was not good.
Not the mail. Oh my god.
But it's against the law.
Wait, mail or mail?
Like
The letter.
right, yes, letter mail.
Oh my god, they're gonna open up human bodies. McGinn, what's insane?
Oh my god, that's murder. But yeah, like this was all approved by J. Edgar Hoover, who was the director of the FBI from 1924 to
Edgar.
1972.
Sorry.
But yeah, and so during all of this, America had also been trying to create a hydrogen bomb. Do you know what a hydrogen bomb is?
It's a bomb filled with hydrogen. Because I know that hydrogen is actually something on the periodic table, an element. Because I've been learning atoms in school.
Education.
And I made it into
Okay.
a bomb.
Do you know the mushroom cloud?
Yeah, that's like
It's
you
mushrooms
draw
in a
it.
cloud.
You can make it look like a tree if you draw it.
Okay, so the atomic bomb was the big mushroom cloud that you see a picture of a lot. It's the really giant bomb. So the hydrogen bomb
Yeah.
was 1,000 times more powerful than that bomb.
Godzilla.
Holy moly, that is something not very nice. I would not
No, it's
recommend
not.
it. Do not
Wait.
give it to a toddler.
If
No,
it was
that's
in,
good-
like,
that's
if
a
it
good
hit in Melbourne, will we die?
Yes. I'll put it this way, the first time America tested the bomb, it literally vaporized the island that it was on. But yeah, and so during this time, they were making the hydrogen bomb. But only a year after they first tested the bomb, Russia announced that they had a hydrogen bomb. Isn't that a bit interesting? How do you think that happened?
Why would they announce
They
it?
stole it. Like chocolate.
The people
Sus.
that were making it were actually communists and were from
stealing
Russia.
candy from a baby.
Yes, they were using spies. And so,
Bada bing, bada boom.
so two of the most famous spies were Julius and Ethel Rosenberg.
And James Bond.
I know her.
Really, do you?
Yeah, I know her really well.
Yeah, she's my
talking to her.
cousin.
Oh, yeah. Turns out she's dead, Lockie.
Oh.
Because they were Russian spies who helped pass information about America's bomb to the Soviet Union. And so they were found out, well, Julius was anyway. And he gave away the information that his brother and his wife Ethel were also working with him. And so they were then arrested and executed for espionage.
Wait, did
Yay!
they die?
Yes,
Were
they
they-
were executed, Lockie.
Wait,
Tell me every detail
does that
of
mean
their
that-
deaths.
Wait, does that mean their fingers are chopped off? And they slowly die.
Well, they wouldn't
No.
specifically chop off their fingers.
I don't think death by cutting off fingers is how that works.
You can die from it though. I've heard of it. It's like actually not very nice. Like you actually lose your fingers by cutting them off. Like have you? Oh my god.
Oh, yes, I figured, but that's not how they do executions. America was so paranoid about communists in the first place that before this even happened, they were already suspicious of spies. So how do you think they tried to find the spies?
Killing everyone.
Dogs.
Okay,
Like,
Lockie.
the
Okay, what they did was they made a group called the HUAC. What do you think HUAC stands for?
Wait.
How you how
Why are the cleaning?
how underdog escaped the Soviet Union.
Okay, it's standard for the House of Un-American Activities Committee. And so their job was to investigate communist organizations that
And
started
find
during
the
the Great
spies.
Depression.
And find the spies.
Yes, they were able to send people to public hearings before Congress where they would accuse them of being communist, and anyone who refused to answer questions or even attend the hearing in the first place could be sent to prison.
That's
And
nice.
they could also be blacklisted by their employers. So what do you think blacklisting is?
You get a black piece of paper and you write a list on it.
Patty, dude, you need to chill about this whole Cold War thing. Like, oh my god. Like, chill.
Okay. Blacklisting, at least in the context of McCarthyism anyway, is a list of people who are no longer allowed to be employed by their industry of work because they're communist or sympathetic to communists. And so,
But then
yeah,
they were like,
if you were blacklisted, you basically lost your whole reputation because you were a communist. So, many people who are blacklisted were in the Hollywood film industry. So if that was happening now, who do you think would be blacklisted from working in the industry?
Hugh Jackman.
Matt Damon. Batman.
People who were blacklisted in Hollywood were called the Hollywood 10, and so it was a group of 10 writers, producers, and directors who were all called to testify at hearings. And they all refused to attend the hearings, and so they were sent to jail and blacklisted from working in Hollywood. So their names were Albert Bessie, Herbert Biberman, Lester Cole,
Sorry.
Biberman, Edward Dimitrick, Ring Lardner Jr., John Howard Lawson, Albert Maltz, Samuel...
Is that Albert Weinstein?
I said Albert Maltzlocki, not Albert Einstein.
Okay.
Samuel Ornitz, Adrian Scott, and Dalton Trumbo. And so they used the trials as a way to fight back against the aggressive nature of the HUAC's hearings. So screenwriter Lawson even said, "I'm not on trial here. The committee is on trial."
Yeah, but like the thing is though, they shouldn't be allowed to do that because everyone's allowed to have like their own opinion.
But yeah, and so even though they were blacklisted, a few of the directors still continued to make films after they were blacklisted, but they just used a different name when they made the film, and so they still managed to make films about it. The Hollywood blacklist didn't even come to an end until the 1960s. And so historians still debate over whether the Hollywood 10's convictions were justified or if they're actually heroes for speaking against the system when everyone else was silent on it. But it wasn't just Hollywood that were being blacklisted. Anyone from any industry could be blacklisted from doing their job ever again. Especially teachers. So why do you think they would be blacklisted?
Oh no, because they're teachers and they're like teaching kids and like teach them the supposedly wrong idea.
Exactly right. That was it. They actually had a rule that if you talked about communism at school, it had to be in direct contrast to American democracy to show that communism was bad. And so about 600 teachers lost their jobs after being put on trial because of this. I'm going to show another person now. So who do you think this guy is? What do you think he does?
He's got a microphone. He's a radio person.
He looks really old.
But he looks depressed. He looks depressed.
Oh, what did he like support communism and stuff like that? And then
Is
then,
he
like
a
he had like a
fellow
radio
traveller?
station where he like talked about that kind of stuff.
That would be interesting, but no. He was actually a TV host for his show See It Now. And so he basically roasted Joseph McCarthy on national television. And so he used footage of his speeches to expose his reckless behaviour towards communists.
3 times.
And he concluded the episode by saying, "We must remember always that accusation is not proof, and that we will not be driven by fear into an age of unreason."
That's cool.
Yeah. They also broadcasted hearings held by McCarthy. His interrogation tactics and evasive answers to questions were seen as a shameful moment for American politics. And the Senate condemned Joseph McCarthy's actions as inexcusable, but he got to keep his job, but he just lost all power and nobody wanted to listen to him ever again.
Yay.
And he then died 3 years later of alcoholism. After Joseph McCarthy was completely shut down, basically the era of McCarthyism just ended. No one really cared about what Joseph McCarthy had to say anymore, and they all just kind of stopped feeling so paranoid about their neighbours being communists.
Thanks to a guy on a radio. No, was it on a radio or on a TV show?
TV show.
Thanks to a guy on a TV show.
Is there still communism?
Communism.
Oh my god, did you just say something?
Communism. Yes, there are still communist countries. So that's the Red Scare, or McCarthyism for
Red
you.
Scar.
Yay!
Thanks, guys. That was good.
Bye.